Right? Hopefully it will be good as he promised to the Jewish people, to Israel. So, anyways, if we know that we are the children of Hashem, Hashem is Abba, is our father. Father wants what's best for his child. And sometimes Hashem do things that looks at first very strange. But if you check to the details, you see that Hashem is doing only what's good for us. There's another story that I remember that happens many years ago. It's kind of quite a famous story about a teacher, rabbi with his students, that this student gave him a hard time in the class. So he called the father, and the father picks up the phone. He says, your son's Moshe leaving me from the beginning of the year, very hard time. I can't run the class. So the father of Moshe's father says, I know Moshe is a good boy. So what do you mean? He said, maybe he started the year. I'm going to talk to him. Don't worry, I'm going to talk to him. And then Moshe comes home, and Moshe's father says, what's going on? Tell me what happened in school. The teacher is picking on me. I'm not doing anything. I'm raising my hand and saying to him, be quiet and shut up. And he's kicking me out of the class, sending me to the principal's office. I don't know what happened. So Moshe's father talked to him, try to behave. I'm not doing anything. I'm being quiet. Please. I don't know if the Rebbe says something wrong. The next few days, the Rebbe has been calling and leaving messages around the class. Got to the point that the Rebbe says either me or Moshe.
Oh.
So they call up the father of a meeting, parents meeting, the principal's office. And he says, I don't know, from last year, you're saying it's a wonderful child, but here in my class is being crazy. So I know my child is the best student. How that happened? So the principal's offers, I have students that getting appeal. It's called Ronen. If you take it, it'll come down. Let's give it a shot. I can help you with that. We'll subscribe. We're going to have the meeting with the consulate, school's consulate. We're going to take care of it. By the end of the week, we'll get you the medication. Let's give it a shot. Father says, it might be a good idea, but my son will be embarrassed if you have to take medication every week, every day. So the teacher says, I have an idea. Every morning, after prayers, after davening, I'll tell him, go to my office and get me a coffee. When he go to get me a coffee, he can, get his medication, and we come to the class, everybody thinks that he go to get me coffee. And everything is going to be cool. Fine. So, the very next day, when she comes to class, at the end of the week, he got the medication, new week, and Moshe comes with coffee every morning. Moshe, we finished davening. Would you mind get me a coffee? Yesterday was wonderful coffee. Give me coffee. After a month, the teacher calls the father and he says, let me tell you something about Moshe. Such a wonderful student. I'm telling you, I'm so happy about him. Grades are up. He's getting 90s and up. I can see it. He's going to be an A+ student. So Moshe's father waiting till Moshe comes home, and then he says to him, Moshe, I am so happy. You're doing the right thing. You're studying, you're learning. I know this is my old Moshe. Tell me, what changed? I said, I don't know, nothing changed. Whatever the teacher told me to do, I'm doing. But the teacher now is great. It's been great to me and to everybody. He says, okay, I'm happy to hear. Tell me, how was your day? He said, well, in the morning after davening, I'm going to the office. He's saying me, I'm making coffee. I'm taking the pill. I'm putting the pill in the coffee. And I'm giving it to him. And after, a few minutes, he become a great teacher. Okay? I said, what? This is a true story.
Oh, it's true?
That the rabbi, they took it to the court of Rabbi Yitzhak Zilberstein.
Wow.
In Bnei Brak, because after hearing that, they thought, hold on, if the rabbi has been using this medication every day,
As a rabbi.
I mean, he should pay for the medication, not me. It was very expensive. The one who enjoyed it, he mistakenly thought it's for the rabbi.
Oh. So the one that needed it was the rabbi.
So it was a debate in the Jewish court who needs to pay. Eventually, the medication.
Wow.
Anyway,
Who paid
they fixed it
again?
eventually. Honestly, I don't remember exactly the details, but the idea here is that sometimes you
I'm getting
think
the idea.
someone else's fault, and actually you're the problem.
Yes.
So,
You should get the medication, but Hashem fixed it that way that nobody get embarrassed.
wow.
And sometimes you think it's the other person's fault, when it's actually you're the troublemaker.
Everything that you see is in yourself.
It's true. The bad trait that you can see in someone else, this means that you have experience with that, so you can recognize this bad trait in someone else.
Wow.
Okay, go on.
So,
Okay.
so Moishi thought that the pill was for the rabbi. He didn't know it was for him.
Good for him. Right. Yeah, there was miscommunication led to solving the problem that way.
That was
Right.
hilarious.
Go ahead.
And what is offense of belief? What brings a man to perfect belief? This is a man who isn't afraid of adverse happening, accepting all that believe him with joy, that befalls him with joy. This is comparable to the servant knowing about his master that he is generous and merciful, and he pays a great reward to those who fulfill his will and his mission, and that when he exposes great labor upon his servants, he confers good upon them, elevating and rising them and making them his counselors, having them eat at his table and ride in his viceroy's chariot, and appointing them over his land. There is no doubt that this servant, knowing and recognizing this about his master, will forsake everything in the world and do his master's will with joy, though it may involve extremely difficult labor, being mindful of all the good that will occur to him because of his labor. But that servant who sees his master withholding his servant's pay, and who knows in his heart that his master is a miser, and that his exertions will be greater than his pay, such a servant will exert himself for his master only in sadness.
Right. Extortion means stingy, right?
He's trying his best to do.
Someone, you see that his master is a stingy guy, is a cheap guy. He says, I have to work, I'm his servant. But he's doing it without passion, right? But we know that God is very generous. We know that the master, he is the best of the best. So there's no reason for us to be sad. He owned the world. What's stopping him from giving me whatever I want, whatever he wants? He's not limited by anything. I just need to be good enough to accept and to get what I'm asking for. Okay?
So it is in our case, one who believes with perfect faith that his Creator is good and more merciful than the most merciful, that he is a righteous judge, that all that he does to him is for his good and to the end of rewarding him with greatly for all that he suffers on behalf of his great name. And that is for all of his service and administration. For the sake of heaven, he will attain great pleasantness in the pleasant world to come, as we find Nebuchadnezzar to have merited great grandeur for having taken forth steps in honor of the Blessed One, of the Blessed Hashem.
We'll discuss in a second. And with Esa,
And And we find Esav to have merited greatness in this world for himself and his descendants after him, for having been attentive to his father's honor, and many similar instances. There is no doubt that if one believes all this with a perfect heart, he will rejoice in all of the Blessed One's judgments. For who would not rejoice to have copper coins taken from him and to be given a golden talent is exchanged in exchange?
A golden bullion. Imagine to yourself, everybody knows that Nebuchadnezzar is from the ancient days, the Babylon. It was the one that destroyed the first temple. And he gets rewarded. He gets rewarded to become a king. And 3 of his children become kings after him. And is very much related to our prayers every day. Look at that, guy, with the 3 steps. Here it says 4 steps, but the Midrash says 3 steps. So I saw the Gaon Levina explain that the Gemara talks about he did a half step, but do the 4th one, but he actually did 3 steps. Now the idea is as following: what happens? There was a story many years ago about Ahaz. There was a wicked king, and after him became Chizkiah. In times of Ahaz, God shortened the daylight. It was supposed to be daylight, shortened it in 10 hours. After 2 hours of daylight, boom, it became dark. Around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, dark.
Wow.
In times of Chizkiah, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 12 p.m., it's still daylight. Hashem extended the light for 10 hours. Hashem changed the nature. We're not going to go through what happened there. You can look it up. The story goes back to Babylon when the king of Sancherib, the king, of Babylon, he went to sleep during the day and for a nap, and he wakes up and he thought that this should be almost evening. He said, "What's going on here? Nobody woke me up. I wanted to kill everybody, all the guys. Someone is trying to do behind my back thing. They let me sleep and they're running the kingdom without me." Mm-hmm. So they told him, no, don't worry. I don't know. The sun didn't set it yet. The sun didn't set. What happened? They told him, well, the gods, they had prophets, the God of the Jews extended there in Jerusalem and Israel, for King Chizkiah, the sun for an extra 10 hours. He said, such a great king, such a great God, we have to send them letters. And imagine, Chizkiah is there, the temple is there, everything is fine. So Nebuchadnezzar was described, he was off that day. He says to them, so his substitute was there, let's write a letter. So they're writing a letter, giving it to the runner, the one that goes on the horse, to go to Israel to give them the letter. Nebuchadnezzar came, updated me what happened. They told him the hours, the time, the letter. He says, show me the copy. They see the copy, and he says to the great gods of to the great King Chizkiah, to the city of Yerushalayim, and to the great gods of Jews, greetings and yada yada yada. He says, oh, stop! What is this? This is how you write a letter? You put a man before God? So how we should write it? You should write to the great gods of Chizkiah, to the city of Yerushalayim, and to the King Chizkiah. I'm gonna get this runner back, and then he did these 3 steps. The 3 steps he did in order to catch him. So he did something like, I'm gonna catch this runner. I did 1, 2, 3. He was about to do the 4th one. Hashem sent immediately Gabriel, the angel. Mm-hmm. He looks like one of the soldiers. He says, no, stop, no, we need you here. I'm going to do the job. Why? The Talmud says if he would do 1 more step to the honor of God, it will be a great destruction to, God forbid, the Jewish people. So someone else give more respect, he was so nervous about it, than them themselves. But Hashem says, you did 3 steps for me, I'm going to make you great, and 3 children of you